Motley, if she would stand up so people can see you. And I say that because Kim, as executive director, is a big resource in terms of answering questions about the process, directing you to where you can get information, and giving you things that are very helpful in the process. So I would encourage you to make sure that if you're interested, that feel free to email, call, reach out to Kim. And we are happy to have her because, I mean, not having someone in place for a while has been a little bit of a problem, but we are back on track now. Let me just give you a little background on the commission and then talk a little bit about the process. And then hopefully when we get to the question and answer session, you know, if you have some specific questions, I can get to those. The commission is an interesting entity, and it's all governed by statute, as Judge Huvelle mentioned. There are 7 members on the commission. I call it a pretty eclectic commission. We have 1 person appointed by the President of the United States, 2 lawyers, and that's a lawyer, 2 lawyers appointed by the D.C. Bar, a judge from the federal court appointed by the chief judge of the U.S. District Court for D.C. We have 1 appointment from the city council, which is a non-lawyer from the city council, and 2 appointments by the mayor, 1 non-lawyer and 1 lawyer. So it's a pretty eclectic group of folks who are put together. We believe that the process is pretty simple and transparent. And I would start by saying we have a website that has all the information on the website. And, you know, I will give you that, and if I say it incorrectly, I know that Kim will correct me, but it's www.jnc.dc.gov. And there you will find everything that you need from start to finish. So let me talk a little bit about the process. The commission's charge is to send 3 names to the president within 60 days of there being a notice of vacancy on either the D.C. Superior Court or the Court of Appeals. So we find out that there's a vacancy. We put an announcement up on the website, and it goes out in the Daily Reporter and all those places. So there's notice of the vacancy. The application is on the website, so you can download the application. My advice to you is if you think you have an interest, or if you want to see if you want to go through this process, download the application. Start filling it out now, because you'll see where you may have holes and what you need to sort of shore up, but it's there. So you can do that even if you're not interested in applying for a little while. And I would suggest that you do that. Judge Huvelle mentioned that there are requirements for being on the D.C. Court of Appeals or the D.C. Superior Court. And the requirements are, I mean, pretty basic, but a lot of people don't know about them. 1, you have to be a U.S. citizen. You have to be an active member of the D.C. Bar. You have to be a bona fide resident of D.C. 90 days prior to the president making the nomination. You have to have been engaged in the practice of law or a member of a law faculty at one of the law schools for 5 years. Those are the basic requirements. There is on the application, as you will see, you got to put down, you know, the trials that you've had, how many trials you've had, what are the most significant trials that you have. But I will tell you that while trial experience is definitely something that's good, it is not required. And we are interviewing and seeing good candidates who do not have trial experience. I mean, I think the judge, you can learn these things. I mean, yes, you got to learn to be quick on your feet, but you're all lawyers. You get through the process. You can learn these things pretty quickly. So think about the trials that you do have, because you need to put that on the application. But don't say, well, I've only had 3 trials or 4 trials and I probably shouldn't apply. Well, you never know, okay? And it's interesting because while the selection process, it's hard to say, you know, what factors are going to be relevant at any given time. I can say to you that a lot of it depends on sort of the vacancy that's being vacated, where there is a need. I mean, for example, the family division, we desperately need people who have an interest in going into family division and who won't say, when asked by the chief judge to go into the family division, I don't want to go into the family division. And in fact, the application now has a certification on it that says, if asked to go into the family division, I will go into the family division. So that it gives the chief judge something to show that, judge, once you get on the bench, that you signed the certification, so now you're going to the family division. So a lot of it depends on the makeup and what we're looking for. You submit the application, and if you've submitted an application within 12 months of a vacancy being announced, you don't have to submit a new application. You obviously can update it, but if there's nothing to update, you can just send a letter and say, I have an application on file. It was submitted within the last 12 months. I want to be considered for the vacancy of, this judge. We attempt to, and we normally do, interview at least all new applicants. So if you're a first-time applicant to the commission, we do normally have you in for an interview with the full commission. Diversity, very important to the commission. And when I say diversity, because I do a lot of diversity consulting for clients, I mean big D diversity, okay? And that means not just race, gender, but I'm talking about backgrounds and experiences, and it goes to the point of not just looking for people who have a criminal law background. The judge mentioned some of the numbers. Our numbers are a little off, so we're going to have to check. But I was going to say, if you look at our D.C. Court of Appeals, for example, I know Judge Blackburne-Rigsby has that big smile on her face. We have 9 judges on that court, including the chief judge. 6 are women. There's no other court like that in this nation. At the Superior Court level, I think my numbers may be off 1 or 2, but there are 61 judges, including the chief judge. We've got some vacancies and nominations pending, but 34 males and 27, I think you said 25, but we're close enough, 27 females. The interesting thing, we just sent up, as Holly mentioned, 6 names Monday for 2 vacancies that are present. And in the 6 names that we sent up, 4 are women. But putting aside the gender issue, if you look at their experiences, there are 2 magistrate judges from Superior Court. There's somebody from the U.S. Attorney's Office. There's somebody from the Public Defender's Service. There's the General Counsel of the Department of Corrections. And there is somebody from private practice who had been at a large firm and is now at a small firm. So it is a pretty diverse group in terms of gender, in terms of experience, and that's what our commission really is into and is looking for at this point in time. I think that's about it, what I'll say in terms of opening comments, but I'd be more than happy to take questions.
Sure. And Wilma, I thought maybe you could comment on some of your experiences with respect to the nominations process. And 2 things that came to mind to me. One is endorsements, because our Judicial Appointments Committee receives many requests for endorsements for the vacancies. And it's a process that our board and the committee take very seriously. And so we'd like to know kind of the role of endorsements in the process. And also, is there any, I once heard a judge, and I can't think of who it was, mention the fact that when they were going through this process, that actually they were asked to name opposing counsel in some of their cases. And you think about that, and you think about some of the cases, I'm a litigator, and some of the cases I've had, and some of the opposing counsel I've had, and I've thought to myself, I'm glad my mom taught me to be, to be cordial to everyone, even if they were not cordial to me, because in those types of, relationships form, you do see opposing counsel again sometimes.